For hundreds of years, people have stood on these cliffs in Western Ireland, looking out across the Atlantic to the United States, dreaming of new frontiers. Today, Ireland is more connected than ever before to the US and to the rest of the world. And now it's embedding the newest of technologies, artificial intelligence. I'm Jane Barrett, Head of AI Strategy at Reuters. Welcome to Supercharged Ireland.
The way I see AI, it's never going to replace the human. It's going to elevate their role.
Everybody is underestimating how much opportunity there's going to be.
As we go more and more automated, more and more electric, AI has much more of a role to play.
It's not just about a shiny new tool, it's how can this help me do what I need to do.
It genuinely is transforming work day to day.
As a country, we've really focused on making sure that AI is adopted and used right across society. We have a great talent base, and that's really formed a really strong ecosystem of companies.
Artificial intelligence has become the invisible co-pilot of modern-day driving. Whether you're using assisted braking, navigation systems, or indeed talking to your car, AI is everywhere around us. And outside the car, the entire R&D process is being transformed. Some of the most advanced automotive AI on the planet is being developed just 30 miles from here, in Shannon, County Clare. I'm about to go and meet Colin Harty, the head of testing at JLR, to find out how they're building the next generation of vehicles using AI.
At a day-to-day level, what we see is, even with some of the systems we have around us here, they heavily leverage AI to help us just work significantly more efficiently. So whether it's defining tests, automating tests, deploying tests, or analysing the data afterwards, AI is making it far, far more efficient. There's a lot of opportunities that you can go after with AI. And one of the really important things is that you need to focus on use cases, because you can do anything. And the challenge there is that you can do anything and get nowhere. So what you need to do is focus on something that'll give you a short result with the lowest amount of effort, and then you can yield from that and then build on incrementally. That's what's really important.
So tell us a little bit about some of the tech partners. You've got a big deal with NVIDIA, with AWS, you're working with Microsoft, everyone's sort of involved. So how does that work?
It's a really, really competitive industry, and partnering with the experts is the way forward. We work really, really closely at hands-on level with the code with these partners to allow us to learn from them, and then they learn a lot from us too, because we know how to build and create some of the world's best vehicles, and they get to learn a lot from us. Then that allows them to modify and enhance their roadmaps to then, allow other partners to benefit. Validation is all about identifying issues and customer features before they ever get anywhere near our customers' hands. So what we started to do is what AI and robotics capability specifically could give us a really important capability into R&D. We leverage Boston Dynamics Spot, and what we're about to see is an example of one here, internally known as Modra, which is Irish for dog. It gives us the ability to place certain objects in a highly repeatable fashion around the vehicle, and we can test all different parameters of that.
Can you give us an example of what Modra has allowed you to test?
We have a feature in our car around a Wi-Fi hotspot. What we do as part of the R&D phase is try to determine its performance in certain conditions. What we could have done in the past was use humans to maybe manually walk around the vehicle with a device and check when connectivity drops. And what we're able to do with Modra is send him around the vehicle, do thousands and thousands of tests over a few hours, and then we build a virtual world with all of the different connectivity points plotted inside, and that gives a really clear understanding of when would Wi-Fi drop, when would Wi-Fi be strong, and any dark spots for any particular reasons. And then we recalibrate the system so that our customers get the optimal product.
So it's interesting that he's essentially an extra tester that is just doing lots and lots of repeatable actions for you.
We can see how he's perceiving his environment, visible there in real time on the screen.
Right.
So we can see one of the sensors on his back there is a LiDAR, so that's allowing us to plot with high fidelity his full environment.
Good boy. So Paul, tell me a little bit about why Ireland for JLR?
We're so close geographically to the UK. Laws and regulations are very similar. And, just from a skills perspective, the universities and the talent that we have here is nothing short of exceptional in my view.
And what comes next as you're looking out over the next couple of years?
Continued growth. We want to keep scaling our software. What we want to do is platformize what we're doing. So we want to make that truly scalable across every element of the business in terms of what JLR want. We've been very focused on kind of one set of software engineering disciplines so far, but we can bring so much more to that. So we're going to continue to focus on software. Electrification, of course, is a big part of that.
And is AI sort of sown throughout all of those elements?
AI is very important, right? Because, it's not going to replace jobs, but it's going to help the engineer do their job better. Ultimately, it's going to make our customer experience better.
So really interesting being here at Jaguar Land Rover in Shannon. I'm fascinated by how they're using AI in everything from the engineering stack to what it feels like to be driving one of these cars. The future's already being built here, and it's coming to us very fast. My next stop is the capital Dublin, on the east coast, and where some of the world's biggest tech companies have made their European headquarters. Among them is OpenAI, probably one of the most emblematic AI companies, which kicked off the public AI revolution with the launch of ChatGPT in November 2022. OpenAI didn't just create another piece of software when it launched ChatGPT. They created what many called the iPhone moment for artificial intelligence. Just as Apple didn't invent mobile phones, but made them smart and indispensable, ChatGPT didn't invent conversational AI, but it did make it universally accessible. Within just the first 60 days, 100 million people were using ChatGPT, making it the fastest growing consumer application in human history.
When we thought about where we wanted to anchor ourselves in Europe, Ireland definitely came up at the top of the list. And why Ireland? So many reasons. I would say 3 come to mind. One is that fusion of tech and talent, where you have global expertise combined with local nuance. That is critical. The second is Ireland having that innovation spirit. When we think back on what we've done in Ireland, from our work on splitting the atom to the invention of the submarine, that is what AI is about, that multidisciplinary facet. And then finally, I would say Ireland being that bridge between the EU and the US, and being part of that Eurozone, that nuance and that cultural understanding.
So tell me a little bit more about how you're working with other offices and regulators and universities around the whole of the area.
Yeah, we're doing quite a lot of work with a lot of different organisations. I'll give the example there of Dogpatch Labs. We run lots of hackathons. We also have the mentoring programs with patchers, who are the young builders of the future, as we like to call them, which is fantastic.
So Emma, you sit on Ireland's AI Advisory Council with some fantastic people who are doing some brilliant thinking. Tell me a little bit more about the work that you're doing.
So it's a privilege to be on the Advisory Council, led of course by our amazing AI ambassador, Dr. Patricia Scanlon. And this council is made up of a broad range of experts across their field, from academia and straight in the industry sector as well, more broadly.
I'm interested to hear a bit more about how you're seeing Irish companies leaning into AI.
For businesses, it's incredible to see that transformation. Stripe, for example, and how much they have integrated our tools for their productivity. Recently at checkout, to have ChatGPT as a feature there. And then, of course, you have Lenihan's hardware store, which is a 160-year-old business, 5th generation, who are using our services to boost their productivity and help with their customer service. I mean, what an inspiring story.
One of the things I love about speaking to other leaders in AI is getting a mixture of that big picture and then the small details. It's fascinating to hear Emma speaking about her work on the AI Advisory Council, giving governments ideas about policy and regulation. but also getting down to the nitty-gritty about how individuals and small businesses are already using AI to build the future. I'm now heading to Novartis, one of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world. To give a sense of scale, in 2025, Novartis drugs have reached 300 million people. Drug discovery is a marathon. Designing new medicines typically takes 12 years and more than $3 billion. By embedding AI in the R&D process, Novartis has the potential to accelerate discovery and development, reduce failure rates, and achieve better and faster treatment for patients.
One of the focuses of the Novartis Corporate Centre here is the adoption and the increased literacy around AI and the tools that we have and the impact that that will have on drug discovery. The goal of this is really to get our innovative medicines to patients faster. We have so many diseases that have no cure, that have not been researched adequately as well because of lack of funding or lack of insight into those diseases. So we see a distinct advantage really of having the scientists being able to use the AI tools to look at these rare diseases. And it's going to be massively impactful on patients. We're doing a lot of experimentation and a lot of testing about what are the capabilities around and what are the areas that we could have major impact on. We're hoping that that will be in data analysis, because at the end of the day, making sure that the data is analysed, it's inputted quickly from the hospitals, but analysed by our scientists as well and interpreted for efficacy and safety. And I think we can use our suite of AI tools to influence that, and that will accelerate the drug development process and ultimately get these important drugs to our patients that will have a massive impact on the quality of their life and the length of their life, hopefully.
When people think about AI and drugs and healthcare, obviously one's personal data, privacy are big concerns. How do you think about that and responsible use of AI and data?
We're very, very protective of our patient data. It's the most important thing to us. At the end of the day, our scientists are going to be in the driving seat around AI. We're going to be using the suite of tools around AI, but we're going to be using them as the most safe way that we possibly can, because the patient at the end of the day is our most prized possession.
But what are your hopes for Novartis here?
The next 5 years is going to be huge leaps and bounds, hopefully, in the area of drug discovery. The AI strategy that the government has implemented is going to be key for us. We're keen to work with the government to develop that and really have it instilled at a policy level. We also want to influence the skills and the skills development of our people, but also at an earlier stage in schools and universities, and we're trying to have an impact on that.
My name is Kathleen, and I'm the Global Head of the Development AI Academy here at Novartis. Novartis is an M365 Copilot organization. We've embedded Copilot about 1.5 years ago. It's really all about what can the tools do for the problem that you're trying to solve, because with this AI landscape, the tools are changing rapidly. So it's really just more the AI mindset, that human AI collaboration that we're trying to impart as part of this foundational AI fluency.
How do you go about training people about security and data security?
When we've deployed certain tools, we've actually had mandatory safe use training that came as a precursor to them being able to actually even utilize things like M365 Copilot.
Some people are very worried about losing their jobs, and some people are very excited about the way that AI can sort of turbocharge them and actually transform the way of work. Do you have a few examples of kind of the way that people are reacting? And
I think every time there's been a technical advancement since the Industrial Revolution, people have always had a sort of an initial panic. I think part of it is a behavioral change, really getting people to understand how they are the pilot and the tool is the co-pilot.
When people ask me what I'm most excited about in the world of AI, my answer is always healthcare. And it was brilliant then to be with Novartis and understand how they're using AI to empower their scientists. I'm incredibly excited by that idea that Eamon was telling us about how by freeing up time, even by being able to go back and reanalyze old data, they may be able to open up new remedies for diseases. What I keep hearing from the companies here is that the country has a whole ecosystem of AI research, great talent, universities and companies working together, and supportive government policy. To understand the foundations of that, I've come to visit IDA Ireland, the government agency which has been supporting foreign investment for more than 75 years. So, how has the country managed to carve out its place in this global AI revolution?
So we've been building a technology ecosystem for really 70 years. But over the last 50 years, we've built those foundational building blocks, whether it's the manufacturing entities like Analog Devices or Intel, or the chip design companies that are building the next generation of chips that run those AI applications. Secondly, we've attracted the world's top cloud computing, cloud infrastructure companies here. And so over the last 20 years, we've built a really scaled cloud infrastructure environment here. And then lastly, of course, the world's top companies that run the applications are here. So whether it's software or fintech or medical devices, those companies are building really world-leading teams here at scale. And what we're doing really is helping companies in a number of ways, but three that I would call out in particular. Number one, we're helping companies to digitally transform themselves, whether in manufacturing or in services, to provide supports for them to digitally transform their businesses. Secondly, we're helping companies to upskill their workforces to be fit for the modern AI requirements. And the third thing we're doing is we're helping companies to develop world-leading platforms and applications to meet the needs of modern AI. Companies can benefit from a refundable R&D credit of 35% against their fully loaded cost for building AI teams here in Ireland for solving really novel technical challenges. Adding to that, then we can fund companies through grant incentives to build teams here and solve those technical challenges. We have incentives for upskilling, for training workers, and that's really popular in the world of AI, where companies need to adjust and change their workforce on a really dynamic basis. Our sister agency, Research Ireland, funds world-class peer-reviewed research across a whole range of disciplines here in Ireland, but primarily in technology and in life sciences. And in the technology domain, AI is a really important part of that.
And so it's not just the big international companies that have put their footprint here in Dublin, but also you've been growing a lot of good homegrown talent. Tell us about some of those success stories.
Yeah, well, there's a great startup ecosystem here, Jane. And, our sister agency, Enterprise Ireland, funds a huge number of startups every year with pre-seed funding that helps those companies get off the ground. And one of those, for example, is a company called Equal One, which has built the world's first rack-mounted quantum silicon computer for high-performance computing applications, which is really important for AI, of course, as we know today.
Dónal, tell me a little bit more about the relationship between universities and technology companies, and indeed your role in that.
Well, I think one of the great things about the Irish ecosystem is that universities are really open to working with enterprise. They understand that if they want their graduates to find really meaningful roles once they leave college, that they've got to understand what the needs of enterprise are. So the universities and enterprise keep a very open dialogue.
I was reading a stat the other day that 91% of people here in Ireland have been using AI, which is an incredible adoption number. Help us understand a little bit more about both that upskilling and also the research that is being done here.
The government has a national AI strategy, which is really about the adoption, the use of AI in society and in business. So it's focused on helping small business to adopt AI, to use AI, and it's focused on helping public sector organizations use and adopt AI. As a country, we've really focused on making sure that AI is adopted and used right across society.
So that was great, hearing from IDA Ireland about that whole ecosystem of companies and universities working together, and all with the backing of the government, giving grants and research credits to the companies who are investing here. We hear about a lot of international companies investing, but what about Irish companies growing overseas? I'm here to meet Tynes, one of Ireland's successful tech startups, which started with just 2 people here in Dublin, but is now growing internationally. Tynes has achieved unicorn status, reaching a valuation of more than $1 billion by focusing on key areas of security and orchestrating workflows. They're hiring locally, they're mentoring the next generation of Irish tech entrepreneurs, and they're proving that you can build a world-leading company right here in Dublin.
We provide an intelligent workflow platform for mission-critical teams. So we help IT, security, infrastructure, those types of teams meld together automation, AI, and integration to drive business outcomes.
So what are the key problems for your clients that you're solving at Tynes?
One would be a fragmented tool stack. So they've invested in a lot of different tools and they're not talking to each other. So there's no integration between these products. The second thing is there's often a lot of repetitive manual work. And so Tynes allows those frontline people who would be doing that work manually to build an automated workflow so they don't have to do that work over and over again. And that allows them then to refocus on more impactful, more business additive, and just more enjoyable tasks.
So how has AI changed, and particularly generative AI, changed what your clients are doing and how Tynes are serving them?
When LLMs began to enter the public consciousness, in terms of the impact it was having at an enterprise level for businesses was pretty underwhelming. And so we began to ask our customers, why aren't you using this technology more? And they told us three things. One was they were terrified of the security and privacy risks, right? Who's using my data? Where is it going? Who's training it? I just don't know. And then the second thing was that although these models were exceptionally powerful, they had no access to the company's real-time or proprietary information. So if you ask it who is Eoin Hinchy, it will give you the information that it's trained on rather than connecting to internal business systems and data to be able to give relevant access and relevant information. And then the third thing was that they had no ability to take action. I couldn't trust them or didn't have the granular access I required. And so what we realized was that those are the problems that we've been solving at Tynes for years, right? We provide this security and privacy platform. We give access to a fragmented technology stack and so on. And we also allow our customers take automated action in a confident, reliable, auditable, governable way. And so about 3 years ago, we started to see our customers change the way they were leveraging Tynes. So it wasn't just about building workflows to automate manual work. It became our customers using Tynes to glue these large language models to their enterprise systems and data. And so that's transformed the way we're growing, but also the way our customers are using the platform.
Can you tell us a bit about some of the problems that your clients are having with AI and maybe some of the advice that you give them?
People not fully understanding what an agent is or not fully grasping the strengths of an agent and when to use them. And our approach is that, when you really cut through all the noise and all the marketing spend, agents are just a new type of automation. That's it. But they're not always the right type of automation. They're perfect for some use cases, but sometimes, again, you're going to want a human-in-the-loop approach, and other times you're going to want deterministic workflows. And so for us, what we do when we're working with customers is we help them understand what the workflow is that they're trying to automate, and then tell them, here you want an agent, here you want a deterministic workflow, and honestly, here you want a human. So rather than trying to throw agents at the problem, we're taking a bit more of a holistic approach to the overall problem that they're trying to solve. What are Reuters doing and what challenges are you guys facing in this kind of wave of AI?
We talk about 3 buckets: reduce, augment, transform. So reduce is really getting rid of that muck work. So if a machine should be able to do your work, great, get AI to do your work. Augment is the really exciting place because it's really how can we use AI to speed up our reporting, to get better stories, to get deeper insights, to investigate things faster. And then transform is that piece that we're looking at in terms of how are the AI products out there in the market going to change the way that people think? How is it going to change the way that people interact with the news? We can't just give that future to the tech companies. We want to own part of that future. So it's about being nimble and really responding to new ways of getting news out to people and also news out to agents. Yeah. Because I have no doubt that in the future, professionals will need real-time news and insight coming into their agent space in order to be able to make decisions better, faster, more accurately.
I love that. So it's almost like everything from the tactical of just do this a little bit faster, all the way through to the strategic direction that your business is heading towards.
That's exactly it.
Love it.
What makes companies like Tynes so significant is that they're proving that the country isn't just a convenient European base for American companies. It's a genuine innovation hub where Irish talent is creating world-class AI solutions. Behind every successful business is a complex web of human resources and financial operations, managing payrolls, tracking expenses, recruiting talent, and planning budgets. For decades, companies have wrestled with disparate systems, endless spreadsheets, and disconnected data. But 20 years ago, two software visionaries decided there had to be a better way. Dave Duffield and Anil Bushri set out to change how businesses manage their most critical assets, their people and their money. Together, they launched Workday. What started as a radical idea to move enterprise software to the cloud has grown into a $7.3 billion powerhouse, serving tens of thousands of organizations, including more than 65% of the Fortune 500.
We've been building AI solutions for over a decade now, and we saw very early on that this was not something you put around the peripheral, you put this in the heart of the application, right in the core. And the way that you were able to do that is by using a single data model, which we have, which is unique to Workday, and be able to make sure we can do it securely and make sure we're doing that in a responsible way. And these two pieces are the thesis of how we think about Workday Illuminate. This is the platform where humans and AI come together. It isn't just about how can you solve small problems for our customers and find time-consuming work and automate them. It's also about driving real insights, helping decisions to be made, making the business to move faster, and enables the strategic direction of the business, its people and its customers.
Your clients entrust Workday with some of their most delicate data in terms of finance and indeed HR and personal. So how does that feed into an AI world where trust and responsibility is so critical?
We have one single data source for all of our data at Workday, which is very, very unique for the enterprise. That allows us to make sure we have transparency, security, and explainability on every single AI tool that we have inside of Workday today. Our customers also trust us because they see the compliance and governance that we put these responsible AI tools through to making sure that they get that explainability, transparency, and clarity and trust that they want and deserve from all the AI solutions that we build for our customers.
Tell me a little bit about Ireland as a place to do business.
I always say Dublin is the Silicon Valley of Europe. We have incredible talent both internationally and homegrown. We have incredible colleges that offer true computer applications and computer software degrees. Right down the road, TUD Dublin, we've actually got 293 people through certification, through cybersecurity, as well as machine learning, something that we feed directly back into our product and the innovation that we build for our customers. We started Workday Dublin here back in 2008 with the acquisition of Cape Clear. That was 23 people building an integration engine. Today, we have over 2,200 people across 70 different nationalities, something that we're incredibly proud of. Over 80% of that is working in product and technology. That means they're building innovation and product for each and every customer that we have. Not only that, AI is a major function of this. And the power of AI when you think of diversity is really, really important. When we're building AI, it's not just diversity of role, from arts to engineering, it's diversity of thought. Because you don't want just a single viewpoint, you want a global viewpoint of what the workforce is going to look like.
So super interesting there to hear about how Workday is dealing with some of the company's most sensitive data and yet being able to use it responsibly and in a trustworthy basis in order to be able to power AI for business. The companies I've met employ tens of thousands of people. They serve millions of customers and they generate billions of euros in revenue. The ecosystem that has made all of this possible is remarkable.
IDA has been an invaluable partner, I will say. They will look across the board and come to you to where you are at your stage. So it could be scaling up, it could be longer term growth development, but they will meet you where you are.
From day one, they were on board with us. They were helping us with our initial business pitch. It's the network that they build up and the like-minded companies that they bring to Ireland that we engage with, and that expands the network further again.
Workday truly sees the value of the talent that we can attract here. We're driving true innovation on site, making it more attractive for multinationals across the globe to come to Ireland.
We never really considered building the company anywhere else. And what it's allowed us to do is access this amazing talent pool who have experience operating at web scale, but who are also very culturally malleable and very customer focused, I would say, as well.
We have a very pro-innovation government. We have a very good ecosystem here.
So as you look out over the next 3 to 5 years, who knows what will have happened in AI? But I'm interested from your point of view, where do you see Ireland?
Well, our focus is on continuing to make sure that the environment here is the best it can possibly be. So for us, that means a couple of things. Continuing to focus on making sure that the talent is here. So we work with government, we work with the universities to help them make sure that what we're hearing from our clients is reflected in the output from the universities. Secondly, we work with government to make sure that we have the resources and the tools to support those companies. And the combination of those incentives really help to make sure that companies can benefit from a great ecosystem and a great environment.
When we started this tour around Ireland, I wanted to understand what made AI particularly special here. What we found is constant talk of this ecosystem, the tech and the talent working together, universities working with businesses, working together with government and policy. I've seen how Jaguar Land Rover is transforming the future of mobility in Shannon, how OpenAI is building its European business out of Dublin. I've explored how Novartis is using AI to compress decades of medical research. Tynes is helping clients link intelligent workflows for their core teams. And how Workday is reimagining how companies work with their data. They're showing the world what's possible when you combine Irish ingenuity and global ambition with the transformative power of AI. This is something quite special. This is Supercharged Ireland.